So just come to a comfortable seated position and just sort of shake out anything that is kind of bugging you, plaguing you. Sometimes it feels good to just jiggle a little bit and then find a little bit of stillness. And exhale out all existing air. Nice deep exhale. Take a big gulp of air. Inhale deeply. Nice deep inhale. And one more. Continue with slow, deep breaths in this position. Maybe the eyes are closed or just a soft gaze down at the ground. Notice the sensation of the breath as it enters the nose, fills your chest, and expands your belly. And notice the sensation as it exits the lungs and comes back out from your nose. Notice if your shoulders are lifting with your inhales and exhales, and see if you can leave them relaxed. With your next inhale, bring it even just a little deeper. And with your next exhale, try to make it a little bit longer. Deep inhale. Long exhale. Starting to move with the breath. On the inhale, sweep arms up overhead. Bring palms together, down through heart center and down to your sides. Inhale, arms sweep up. Palms press, bring them through heart center and down. Inhale up and exhale down. Take a few more, moving at the pace of your own breath. Connecting breath to movement this early in class. Just finding this little moving meditation so that the mind cannot wander and think of other things during this time. Take one more from wherever you are. And then we'll come into a tabletop position. Spread your fingers wide. Press the palms down into the mat. Press the shins and tops of your feet into the mat as well. And then bring your low belly up towards your spine. Gaze out towards the top of your mat. Extend the crown of the head long. And then drop your belly, gaze towards the ceiling. Hips come up for cow pose. Exhale, press the mat away for cat pose. Inhale, cow. And exhale, cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow. And this time, exhale to cat and then press back. Sit your hips back onto your feet for a child's pose. Reach your fingertips out long in front of you. We're not going to stay too long. You're going to press down into your palms. Pull yourself forward and come back to your cow pose. We'll flow that a little bit. Exhale, cat pose to child. And then inhale to cow. Exhale, cat to child's pose. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat to child's pose. Inhale, cow. Take two more, moving at the pace of your own breath. And then come back to your tabletop position, your neutral spine. Tuck your toes, lift your knees, hover them just an inch above the mat. Pause here for a moment, breathe. And then start to straighten the knees, lift your hips coming into downward facing dog. Take any movement that feels good to you in your first down dog, just kind of working out the kinks, maybe pedaling out your feet, taking a little twist or wagging your tail. And then when you're ready, find stillness, gaze towards the back of your space, press the mat or way forward with your hands. Lift your tailbone closer towards the ceiling and let your heels come a little closer to the mat. It does not matter if they touch. Come back to your long, deep breaths. And then walk your hands to the back of the mat, feet are hips width apart. We'll find a ragdoll pose. Hands come to opposite elbows, take a little sway side to side. Come to stillness, release the hands down to the mat and then clasp them behind your back at the small of your back. Lift them up overhead and stay in this forward fold, getting that stretch through the shoulders. I was teaching a yoga anatomy class earlier today and we were talking about all of our tight necks and how this pose stretches through the front of the body, through your chest, but also through the shoulders and the upper back. So really breathe into that space, notice that sensation, and then release the hands down to the mat. Walk yourself out into a high plank pose and pause here. Fingers are spread wide, pressing the palms down into the mat. Challenge yourself to defy gravity. So rather than falling into this, we're pressing up and away. Gaze out towards the top of the mat, belly hugs in, heels press towards the back of the space. Engage your breath. Bring your right knee to your right elbow. Hold there a moment and then step it back. Left knee to left elbow and step it back, starting to warm up the core, right to right and back, left to left and back. Continue marching in this way. Warming up the core early in practice allows it to provide support throughout. If you ever notice after you do a little core work, your abs feel tight for a little while. So that's what we're going for. We want that engagement to carry us through the entire practice. We'll stay here 5 seconds more. 4, 3, 2, 1. If you're like me and you need to even it out, go for it. And then come back downward facing dog. Reconnect to the breath and kind of take any jiggles and wiggles that you notice come out of the sensation in your arms or your neck or your core from doing those movements. And we'll come back out to a high plank position. Of course, knees can come down at any time. This time we're going to pause here and lift your right heel up towards the ceiling and then lower. Left heel up and lower. Right and left. Keep the foot flexed and pressing away. Keep the belly hugging in. We don't want to feel the crunch in our neck. We want to feel this in our core, maybe across the upper back and shoulders. We'll be here 5 seconds more. 4, 3, 2, 1. Even it out. Press back, downward facing dog. Full round of breath. Inhale and exhale. Then gaze to the top of the mat. Travel your feet to meet your hands and fold forward. Inhale to a halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, arms sweep up overhead, mountain pose. Pause here. Grow roots through the feet. That's your foundation. Lift your quads. Become as tall as you can be. But if you notice tension in your jaw or your shoulders, let that release. Press palms together. Draw hands to heart center. Inhale here. Nice deep exhale.
I'm going to take this little hand position with the left thumb over the right, fingers spread wide. Bring that up towards the ceiling and then take a side bend over to the right side. Notice how you can really pull that stretch a little bit deeper by pulling the thumbs apart. Come back to center. We'll take that to the other side. Come back to center, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands come to the mat. Step back to high plank. This time lower halfway down, chaturanga, or all the way. Flip to the tops of your feet. Press into the palms, gaze up, upward facing dog. Press back, downward facing dog. Starting to move with the breath. Inhale here. Exhale, top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, mountain pose. Link the thumbs. Side bend to the right. Inhale, back to center. Side bend left. Back to center. Forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, hands to the mat. Lower chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Inhale here. Exhale, top of the mat. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, mountain pose. Link the thumbs. Exhale, side bend right. Back to center. Side bend left. Back to center. Fold forward. Half lift, inhale. Exhale, step back, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing. Exhale, down dog. Inhale here. Exhale, top of the mat. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, mountain pose. Link the thumbs. Take that side bend to the right. Come back to center. Exhale to the left. Inhale, rise. Exhale, fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, step it back, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing. Exhale, downward facing dog. Move through 2 more times at the pace of your own breath. We'll meet back in a downward facing dog. Take your time getting there. Reconnect to the breath once you arrive. In your down dog, take 1 more inhale and exhale. Inhale, gaze to the top of the mat. Travel feet to meet your hands. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale to chair pose. Sink the hips. Arms rise. Lift your toes up off the mat, rocking your weight into your heels. Connect to the breath. Maybe you bring your hips down a little lower. We'll stay here for 2 more breaths. See if somehow we can even be thankful for chair pose. It's working for us, right? On your next exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands to the mat. Step it back. Take your flow. Always the option to press right back to downward facing dog. On the inhale, lift your right heel towards the ceiling. Then open the hips. Bring your heel towards your seat. Stack the hips.
Keep pressing into the palms. Maybe your left heel comes a little closer to the mat. Bring the leg back out long and draw knee to chest. Hover and hold. Pressing down into the mat to lift the knee. Come back out, three-legged down dog. Then step the right foot between your hands. Come up, warrior one. Square, the shoulders are square to the front of the space, even if the hips are a little bit off center. For a little more heat, you can bring the palms together overhead. For a little balance challenge, you can gaze up towards the palms. Wherever you are, come an inch deeper into the right knee. From here, open to warrior two. Hips are nice and open, and we can ensure that by rooting down into the outside edges of your feet and working the right knee towards the outside edge of the right foot. Even lift the big toe up off the mat. Shoulder blades work towards one another, gaze long over the right fingertips. And flip the right palm and reverse your warrior. Reach the right arm up and over, keeping a deep bend in the right knee. Cartwheel hands to frame your front foot. Step it back. Maybe it floats through your chaturanga. Upward facing. Downward facing dog. Inhale, the left leg lifts. And then stack the hips. Bring the left heel towards your seat. Feel nice and open through the front body. And bring the left leg back out long. Draw knee to chest. Hover and hold. And bring the left leg back out long. Step through between your hands. Come up, warrior one. Hips may feel different from one side to another. That's okay. Wherever you are, stay rooted through the outside edges of the feet. Press palms together for a little more heat. And then maybe you come an inch deeper in the left knee. Let's open up warrior two. Keep that left knee tracking to the left. Fingertips reaching strong in opposite directions, and then come an inch deeper into the left knee. Flip the left palm, reach it up and back, reverse your warrior. And cartwheel hands to frame your front foot. Step it back and take your flow. Up dog and down dog. Let's start to flow that Sun B series, one breath per movement. Starting with chair pose on the inhale, gaze to the top of the mat. Exhale, travel feet to meet your hands. Half lift on the inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale, chair pose. We will pause here for a couple breaths. And with your next exhale, fold forward. Half lift on the inhale. Exhale, hands to the mat, step back, chaturanga. Up dog. Downward facing dog. Right heel lifts towards the ceiling. Exhale, we'll step it right through between the hands. Inhale up to warrior one. Exhale, open warrior two. Inhale, reverse the warrior. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Inhale, left leg high. Exhale, step through. Inhale, warrior one. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, reverse. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing. Exhale, down dog. Inhale, right leg up. Exhale, step it through. Rise, warrior one. Open, warrior two. Inhale, reverse. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Inhale, left leg lifts.
Exhale, step through. Inhale, warrior one. Exhale to two. Inhale, reverse. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take it through one more time at the pace of your own breath. We'll meet back in a downward facing dog whenever you're there. Once there, start to connect back to the breath. If you're craving a child's pose or a hero's pose or a drink of water, now would be the time. We'll stay here for a few more breaths. We'll meet back in a downward facing dog if you've left. And we'll take an inhale here and an exhale. On your next inhale, lift the right leg high. Step through between your hands. We're gonna come all the way up to warrior two. We were flying through these before, so get a little bit more settled. Maybe you come a little bit deeper, a little more open. Maybe the breath is a little easier. Flip your palms to face the side of the mat. And then keeping the lower half of the body the same, bring the left palm to meet the right, facing the front of the mat. We're gonna draw it back like you're pulling back on a bow and arrow, and at the same time, straighten the right knee, bend the left. Take a lunge, a low lunge towards the back of the space. So we're in this sort of bow and arrow setup, looking with focus over the right fingertips. And then we're gonna release the arrow coming forward to an extended side angle. Right forearm is on the right thigh, but staying light with the core engaged. Left arm reaching up and over. From here, sweep the left hand down towards the right foot, pivot to face the side of the mat. Coming all the way to face the back of the mat, we're in a low lunge. Plant the right hand, lift the left for a low lunge twist. Bring the left hand back to frame the left foot. Step the left foot back. Take a flow of vinyasa facing the back of the mat. From your down dog, inhale here. Exhale, travel feet to meet your hands top of the mat. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, up to mountain pose. And as you come up, lift your left knee so you're in a one-legged mountain. Left knee is lifted, left foot is flexed. And take a couple little squats here. So squat down like you're coming to a one-legged chair pose, and then press to lift back up. Let's take that a couple more times. Lower and lift, lower and lift, then lower and hold. So we're in a one-legged chair pose. Just stay here for a few more minutes. Just kidding. Bring the hands down to the mat. We'll take a standing split. So hands are framing the right foot. Left leg is lifted behind you.
And bend the right knee, reach the left toes towards the back of the mat, and we'll come up to a crescent lunge facing the back of the mat. You can take this a little, your feet a little wider for balance, or a little bit longer if you want to come deeper into the hips. Working the back knee towards straight. Notice if the jaw is clenched, shoulders tight, release it. Press palms together overhead, then bring the palms forward so they're facing the back of the mat. Leave the left hand where it is and reach the right hand open for a twist. I'm going to flow a little bit with the arms. Inhale here and exhale, bring the palms together facing the back of the mat. Inhale, open. Exhale, closed. Inhale, open. Exhale, closed. Inhale, open. This time we're taking a big transition all the way to face the other side of the mat. Heels are in, toes are out. Drop the hips low for a goddess pose. Use your breath to be thankful for even this little goddess pose. And you can give yourself the gift of a little side to side sway. Keep the arms strong by bringing the belly to spine, shoulder blades together. And sink the hips an inch deeper. Press into your heels, lift in all directions, 5-pointed star. Bring hands to your hips, pivot to face the front of the mat. We're gonna come to a pyramid pose, but I invite you to keep it long. So you're on the ball of the right foot. Hands are on your hips, start to hinge forward. So you can build a little bit of strength here, keeping the hands on the hips or reaching them out in front of you. Then when you're ready, bring hands to the mat, fold over the front knee. I like to keep this long rather than trying to get both feet on the mat because I think it creates a little bit more space. Bend the front knee, plant your hands, step the left foot back, take your flow. Always the option to press right back to downward facing dog. Let's take that to the other side. Inhale, the left leg lifts. Exhale, step through. Inhale up, warrior two. Pause here a moment. Get a little deeper. Notice what you feel. Then flip the palms to the side of the mat. Keep the left hand where it is. Bring the right hand to meet the left. Pull back on your bow and arrow. Straighten the front knee, bend the back knee. And then when you're ready, let your arrow go. Come forward, extended side angle. Sweep the right hand down towards the front of the mat. All the way, pivot the feet to the back of the mat so you're in a low lunge. Plant the left hand, lift the right, low lunge twist. Bring the right hand down to the mat, step the right foot back. Take your flow facing the back of the mat. Inhale in your down dog. Exhale, travel your feet to meet your hands. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, mountain pose. Lift the right knee. One-legged mountain facing the back of the mat. We'll take those squats down to a little one-legged chair pose and back up. Lower and lift. If you don't feel it in your glutes, maybe you need to go a little lower and lift. This time, lower and hold. Hands come down to frame the left foot. Kick the right leg back for a standing splits. Bend the left knee, reach the right toes back, and then rise, crescent lunge facing the back of the mat. Take any adjustments you need to your stance. And then bring the palms together overhead.
And bring them out in front of you so they face the back of the mat, same direction as your left knee. Leave the right hand where it is. Sweep the left hand back, take a tall twist. We'll flow it a little bit. Inhale here. Exhale the hands together. Inhale, open. Exhale, closed. Inhale, open. Exhale, closed. Inhale, open. And then take that big transition to face the other side of the mat. Heels in, toes out, sink it down, goddess. While you're here, maybe one heel lifts up off the mat. Bring it down, lift the other side. Bring it down, play with lifting both. Keep the hips low. Most important, keep the breath flowing. One more breath here. If the heels are lifted, bring them back down. Reach in all directions, 5-pointed star. Hands to your hips, pivot to the front of the mat. Stay on the ball of the left foot. Keep the stance long. Start to hinge forward for your pyramid pose. Option to first build a little strength. Reach the arms forward. When you're ready, bring hands to the mat. Fold over the right knee. Pyramid pose. Bend your front knee, plant your hands, step back to high plank, lower chaturanga, up dog, and downward facing dog, full round of breath once you arrive. We're gonna add on, but you know me, I like to flow at one breath per movement, so let's try. On an inhale, lift the right leg high. Exhale, step through between your hands. Inhale, open warrior two. Flip the palms to face the side of the mat. Bring the left hand to meet the right. Pull back on the bow and arrow. Lunge towards the back of the space. Release the arrow, come forward, extended side angle. Inhale here. Exhale, bring the left hand down to the mat. Sweep, pivot around to the back. Plant the right hand, lift the left. Left hand comes back down to the mat. Step the left foot back, take your flow. Or press back to downward facing dog. Inhale here. Exhale, bring your feet to meet your hands facing the back of the mat. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, up to mountain pose. Bring the left knee with you, one-legged mountain. Inhale here. Exhale, lower to chair pose. Inhale, back up. I should say one-legged chair. Lower. One more. Inhale up. Exhale, lower. Come back up. Lower and hold. Bring hands to the mat. Reach the left foot back. Standing splits. Take an inhale here. Exhale, bring the left toes to the back of the mat. Inhale, rise, crescent lunge. Palms together. Exhale, bring the arms in front of you. Inhale, open the right arm, open for a twist. Exhale, closed. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. Inhale, open. Exhale, closed. Last one, nice and open. And then take that big transition up to 5-pointed star. Lower to goddess, take a full round of breath. Press into your heels, rise back up, 5-pointed star, hands to your hips. Pivot to the front of the mat, take that high pyramid pose. Come forward first, build a little strength. Then release down over the left knee. Bend the front knee, plant your hands on the mat, step back, take your flow. Meet back and down dog. Let's try the other side. Inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, step through. Inhale up, warrior two. Bring the hands together in front of you. Pull back on your arrow, lunge to the back of the space. Exhale, extended side angle, reaching forward. Inhale here. Exhale, sweep the right arm forward and down towards the back of the space. Plant the left hand, lift the right. Bring it back down. Step the right foot back. Take your flow. Up dog. Downward facing dog. Inhale here. Exhale, top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, mountain pose. Bring the right knee with you. We'll take those little squats. Lower and back up. Lower and lift. Lower and lift. Lower and hold. Bring hands to the mat. Standing splits. Inhale here. Exhale, right toes to the mat behind you. Inhale up, crescent lunge, palms together. Exhale, the palms out in front of you. Inhale, the left arm opens for a twist. Exhale, palms together. Inhale, open. Exhale, closed. Inhale, open. Exhale, closed. Inhale all the way up to this other side of the mat. Exhale it down, goddess pose, full round of breath. Press into your heels, lift up, 5-pointed star. Hands to your hips, pivot to the front of the mat. Start to come forward, build a little strength. And when you're ready, fold forward, pyramid pose. Full round of breath. Then bend the front knee, step back, take your flow, or press back to downward facing dog. Take a couple rounds of breath here. Thanks for playing with me, you guys. We'll move through it one more time, adding on in a couple of places. With an inhale, lift the right leg high. Exhale, step through between your hands. Inhale, open to warrior two. Bring the left hand to meet the right. Pull back on your arrow. This time when we let go, we're coming forward to half moon pose. Right hand to the outside, right edge of the mat, left foot lifts. Keep the left foot flexed, heel pressing towards the back of the space. Then maybe lift your right hand a little bit closer to the ceiling to stay light in the right hip. Bend the right knee, plant the left foot back, come up, reverse your warrior. Then come to an extended side angle. Sweep the left hand down, pivot to the back of the space, plant the right hand, lift the left. Left hand comes back down, take your flow, meeting back and downward facing dog. Inhale here, exhale, top of the mat. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, mountain pose. Left leg lifts. One-legged mountain. We'll take those little chair squats. Lower and lift. Lower and lift. Lower and lift. Lower and hold. Bring hands to the mat. Take your standing splits. Pause here just a moment. Leave the left foot where it is. We're going to lift the arms reaching forward, seeing if on the way to crescent, we can come to a warrior three. Just on the way there, then bring the left toes to the mat behind you and reach the arms high for crescent lunge. Palms pressed together, arms reach in front of you. Let's flow those twists. Inhale, open. Exhale, closed. Notice if you feel a little looser. You can get a little deeper now that we've done this a few times. Last time open. Pivot to the side of the mat. Heels in, toes out, goddess pose. Just a breath, come back up. This time pivot the feet so they're parallel to the ends of the mat and fold forward for a prasarita. Stay connected to your breath in this pose. Stay rooted through the feet. Come to a half lift, flat back. Pivot to face the front of the mat. Step the left foot back, pause here. Lower to a forearm plank. Keep the forearms in the number 11 rather than bringing the hands together. See if you can press into the palms and the elbows. Lift up through the core to keep you lifted. Gaze is out long. Now bring the palms together and walk your feet and find a dolphin pose. And a nice stretch in the shoulders. And then go ahead and walk your feet back. Come back to your forearm plank. Back to your high plank. Option to take your flow. Always the option to skip it. And press back to downward facing dog. Last side, inhale the left leg high. Exhale, step it through. Inhale up, warrior two. Bring the right palm to meet the left in front of you and pull back on your arrow. This time, release the arrow into a half moon pose. Let this feel nice and lifted and open. See if you can really reach up towards the ceiling. Bend the left knee, reach the right foot back. Come up and reverse your warrior. Then find your extended side angle. Sweep the right arm down and around, pivot to the back of the mat. Left hand plants, right arm reaches. Right hand comes back down, step the right foot back, take your flow. Meeting back in downward facing dog. Inhale here. Exhale, top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, mountain pose, right knee lifts. Take those squats, lower and lift. Lower and lift. Lower and lift. Stay down this time. Bring hands to the mat. Find your standing splits. From here, we're going to keep the right foot where it is. Start to reach the right, your arms out in front of you, finding warrior three. Bend the left knee, reach the right toes behind you, crescent lunge, palms press overhead. Bring the palms out in front of you. Inhale, the left arm open, and exhale, closed. Inhale, open. Exhale, closed. Inhale, open. Exhale, closed. Last twist. Come all the way to goddess pose. Sink the hips, full round of breath. Come back up, five-pointed star. Pivot your feet so they're parallel to the sides of the mat. Hands can come to your hips or they can clasp at the small of your back. As you fold forward, Prasarita, arms can reach up towards the ceiling. Bring your hands down to the mat, come to a halfway lift, flat back. Pivot to frame your front foot, step the right foot back, stay in your high plank, lower forearm plank. Engage your breath. Feel the strength of the entire body. Bring the hands together and come to dolphin pose. Walk your feet in. Walk the feet back out. Separate the palms in your low plank pose or your forearm plank. I couldn't remember what that was called for a second. Come back to tall arms. Take your flow. Meet in downward facing dog and then bring knees wide on the mat. Sit the hips back. Find a child's pose. We'll take one more round of breath in child's pose. And then we'll come back to a downward facing dog. On your next inhale, reach the right leg high.
Exhale, step through between your hands. Lower your left knee to the mat, untuck your toes, and walk your right foot to the outside right edge of the mat, bringing both hands to the inside. Lots of places you can go here. You can stay on tall arms. You can get a little bit deeper by coming to forearms. Or you can stay on tall arms and then get more of a stretch through the right hip by pressing the right knee towards the space, towards the right. If you've taken a variation, come back to tall arms and heel toe the right foot towards the center of the mat. Keep the heel where it is, sink your hips back, take a half split. Release down over the front knee. Keep the right foot flexed, toes pulling up towards your face to get a deeper stretch through the hip flexor. Or not through the hip flexor, through the hamstrings. Come back forward to the lunge and then heel toe the foot all the way to the left side of the mat. We'll come to our half pigeon. Go ahead and lay the rest of the shin and hip onto the mat. Stay first on tall arms and then release down to your half pigeon. Maybe you're on forearms. Maybe the forehead comes to the mat. Wherever you are, keep a little bit of engagement in the pose so that you don't just fall into the hips. Come back up to tall arms. Sit down onto the right hip, sweep the left leg around and find a boat pose. We will still come back to the other side, don't worry. Once you're in your boat pose, engage the abdominals by bringing the belly towards the spine. That protects your low back and also make sure that this isn't coming too much from your hip flexors. Then maybe you can play with bringing the knees a little closer to your chest or maybe straightening the legs. Wherever you are, find a drishti or focal point out in front of you and engage your breath. We'll be here for 10 more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hug your knees in towards your chest. Maybe curl forward around the knees. And take a little rock and roll back along the mat. And when you're ready, come over your feet, hands come back to the mat, and we'll step back to downward facing dog. On the inhale, lift the left leg high. Exhale, step between your hands, drop your back knee to the mat. Heel toe the left foot to the left outside edge of the mat. Hands come to the inside of the foot. And here again, you can stay on tall arms. You can release to forearms. You can press that left knee away. Notice what feels right for your hips today. And if you've taken a variation, bring palms back to the mat. Heel toe the left foot towards center. Keep your heel where it is. Sit your hips back to a half split. Come back forward to the lunge and then heel toe the right foot to the right side of the mat. Let the shin and thigh fall where they are comfortable on the mat. We'll come to our half pigeon first on tall arms and then down to forearms. Release down
It's very easy to let your mind wander once you're here. I invite you to keep present these last few minutes of practice by using your breath. Come back to tall arms, sit onto the left hip, swing the right leg around. We're coming one more time to boat pose. We'll move a little bit lower to half boat. Breathe here a moment. Come back up to boat and then lower. Back up and then lower. And we'll just do this for the rest of time until Shavasana. Just kidding. How about 3 more? 1, 2, 3. Hug the knees into your chest and roll along the spine. And then release down onto your back. We'll come right into a happy baby. So hold on to the bottoms of your feet. Bring your knees wide. I always like to take the opportunity to give myself a little foot massage while I'm here. And just kind of rock side to side with the breath. Release the grip of the feet. Bring your feet down to the mat. We'll take a bridge pose. Feet are about hips width apart. And then start to press into your heels. Lift your hips and shimmy your shoulders underneath you so that the shoulder blades come towards one another and hands can clasp. Once you're there, press into the heels. Re-engage the lift through the hips. If your chin is tucked towards your chest, see if you can lift it up so it's pointing towards the ceiling. We spend a lot of time in that position where the chin is tucked and it actually weakens the muscles of the neck. Release your hands and release the hips down to the mat. You can windshield wiper the knees side to side. Take a couple of variations on bridge pose. So bring the feet back to the mat, knees point towards the ceiling. And this time bring your feet together and the knees together. So you're gonna work towards keeping the feet and the knees together. Press into the soles of your feet, lift up. And this is gonna feel a little bit different. You may not get as high as you would in your regular bridge pose, but see if you can keep working the knees together. Go ahead and release the hips down, windshield wiper knees side to side. We'll take one more variation, bringing the feet together. This time the soles of the feet are together and the knees are wide like a Supta Baddha Konasana pose. But you're gonna press into the outside edges of your feet and lift the hips into a bridge pose, but keep the knees wide. This is a really nice way to open the front of the hips. Go ahead and release the hips down. We'll stay here in this Supta Baddha Konasana. Arms can come up into the same shape overhead, or you can keep them at your sides. Bring the knees back together. Walk your feet out so that they're as wide as your mat and let both knees fall over to the left side. To come a little bit deeper, you can hook the left ankle onto the right knee. Put a little pressure there. Arms can come wide like a capital T, and you can gaze over your right shoulder for the deepest stretch. You should feel this in the outside of the right hip. If you're not feeling it, you can make some adjustments. Maybe bring the knees a little bit higher or a little bit lower. You can swing them all the way over to the left. And release if the left foot is on the right knee. Come back to center. Bring the feet back to the outside edges of the mat and let them both fall over to the right side. The right foot can hook onto the left knee, giving it a little more, and you can gaze over the left shoulder. And go ahead and release the legs, bring them back to center, and then extend them out long on the mat for Shavasana. If you have a wall or a piece of furniture nearby, you can take legs up the wall. This can be a really relaxing way to spend Shavasana. Bring the hips up along the wall and then sweep the feet so that they're vertical and stacked right up over the hips. And start to feel the legs become light as blood returns back to the heart. Notice your breath and then release your thoughts and stay here. If you have more time and would like to stay right here for a few more minutes, feel free. If you're ready to move, let's start with a deep breath. Start to bring movement to your hands and your feet. And when you're ready, reach your arms up overhead, take a full body stretch. Roll onto your right side, sending yourself a little gratitude for the work that you did here on your mat. And we'll meet in a seated position. We will close by chanting Om one more time together. Exhale everything out. Deep inhale. Bring hands to heart center. Thank you for choosing yoga and sharing it with me. Hands to third eye center, bowing forward. Namaste.